Bum bum ba-da-dum ba-da-da-dum bum bum Welcome. It's decision. It's Judgment Day. It is Judgment Day. The court is in session, and we are about to hear the verdict. Now this isn't like last year. This isn't like a lot of years in the college football playoff where we don't know who's getting in the playoff. We know, we have a pretty good idea of who the four teams in the playoff are going to be. There are two teams I feel like that are on the outside looking in that may have an argument, but it's a long shot. But we'll see who's playing, where they're playing, when they'll be playing. I mean, it all comes down to this, ladies and gentlemen. What channel is this on? So the preview show's on ESPN2. The main show, which is starting in 8 minutes, will be on ESPN. No Clemson, no Ohio State, no Oklahoma. We were hoping for no Alabama, but that doesn't look like that's going to be a thing. Looks like Alabama. The Crimson Tide with a demolition of the number one team in the country. Looks like they're going to make it. Quits, I'm calling it. Georgia won't make it. Now that brings up the discussion, who will make it instead of them? Is it Notre Dame? Is it Baylor? Is it Ohio State? Who knows? Georgia won't get in. Uncle Lou would throw a fit of epic proportions. Remember last year I made a video how the teams reacted to the playoff ranking show? Here will be your characters in this year's installment. Those are your characters. Last year, San Jose State was everyone's favorite character. People liked Coastal Carolina. Yeah, I'm making that video again. I'm gonna start making it as soon as I end this stream. As soon as we figure out the rankings. If I was an AP poll voter, if I was a voter, here's how my rankings would look. That's my personal rankings. That's my personal rankings. If you're mad at them, go ahead and be mad at them. Those are my personal rankings. If you don't like them, tough. That's how I would rank the teams. But I'm not ranking the teams. I should be ranking the teams. There will be two teams, most likely, that'll make their first playoff appearance. Never made the playoff. Never made the playoff. Only made the playoff once. And is in the playoff every single year. Michigan should be number 1. I personally think Cincinnati should be number 1. But that's just my opinion. I think Cincinnati should be number 1. I think Cincinnati. If I would say Cincinnati 1, Michigan 2, Alabama Crimson Tide 3, Georgia 4, Baylor 5, and Notre Dame 6. Bowl season is upon us. Yep. Here's the thing. If Notre Dame was in a conference and they won the ACC, if BYU was in a conference and won the Pac-12, BYU's going to be in the Big 12 coming up. That's exciting. Alabama Crimson Tide. Bowie Bama. You should go to Michigan, Alabama, Cincy, UGA. Here's what I've been saying. They're gonna stagger it to where Georgia doesn't have to play Alabama. They're either gonna have Georgia and Alabama 2 and 4, or 1 and 3. The most likely honestly, it doesn't really matter where the teams are ranked. The matchups are what matters. It's gonna be Georgia and Michigan and Alabama and Cincinnati. And I honestly think Cincinnati could beat Alabama. I'm not even lying. We make a college football house video. What do you think these are for? What do you think these are for? These are all your characters in this year's installment. I hope Georgia. I would love to see Cincinnati in the national championship. And people are going to say, oh, they're just going to show up and take their L. They're just going to show up and get B. And here's the thing. If Cincinnati plays Alabama and they get blown out, that doesn't mean they didn't deserve to be there. That doesn't mean they didn't deserve to be there. Oklahoma got blown out all those years, and they're in the playoff every year. Not this year, though. Boom, boom, ba-da-dum, 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 dun, 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 dun. Wait, when are they announcing? It's at 11, or at noon Eastern time, 11 Central time, which is in 1 minute. Although they're going to drag it out as long as, you already know, they're going to drag it out as long as possible. Who should be the Heisman? That's just the question I'll put out there. Who's your Heisman? For the longest time, I said it should be Kenneth Walker. I think that it should be Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young should win that. That game against Georgia, the final drive against Auburn and the game against Georgia was his Heisman moment. They didn't have such a bad loss. They may be ahead of Georgia. They didn't lose to TCU. Lost to TCU. How will the committee view Georgia's crushing loss to... How will the committee view Georgia's beatdown by the hands of Alabama? We'll see. Hopefully we play Pitt. It'd be cool to see.
Championship Saturday restored order, and the only upset we want to call Alabama winning the SEC and earning its way into the playoffs. An upset that a little more than shuffled the deck. Georgia took a gut punch in the Tide, but instead of wait till next year, it might be wait till next month or sooner for the Dogs. There is some new blood. Those who stayed finally champions for Michigan. Nobody's won more games in the whole history of the sport, but none of them in the playoffs. And now the question for
Yeah, Michigan has the most wins in the history of the sport. How many wins do they have in the playoffs?
final playoff ranking. Cincinnati has
0.
been central to this playoff debate all season long, and the Bearcats finished strong. A perfect season and a euphoric exclamation point. Now the data points
A euphoric exclamation point from Cincinnati.
last ceiling supposedly imposed to keep the upstarts down. So where was the drama? Not a lot, but we were this close from having a major case made for Oklahoma State. But doesn't that inch away really epitomize what we face right now? 4 teams have emerged. We know who the semifinalists will be, but we don't know the order. All on a
Kurt, I don't like how Reese Davis is like, we know who the semifinalists will be. Give Baylor a shot. They're like, oh, we know who the semifinalists will be. Shut up. I mean, yeah, you pretty much know, but... So the assignment. We want Bama crossed out to we want Georgia. Now everyone wants Georgia. They saw... Is Georgia's defense still better than the 85 Bears? Asking for a friend. Alabama scored more points in the second quarter than Georgia had allowed in a game all year. The most they had allowed in a game was 17 against Tennessee. Y'all should be psyched. Alabama's in the playoff. I'll give you a little bit of something here. If Alabama plays Cincinnati in the playoff, if Alabama plays Cincinnati, it will be the biggest game in college football history. I said what I said. Michigan has some Big Ten championship sweatshirts on right now. They are gathering for their watch party in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hey, is Clemson still having their pizza party? Asking for a friend. Dabo, you still think you're making the playoff? Conference champions were crowned. 3 of them you expect will be playing in the playoff. Baylor and Oklahoma State. Baylor wins their first conference championship in school history. Imagine Baylor, the euphoric state Baylor fans have been in for a year, winning the NCAA Tournament National Championship for March Madness and winning their conference and possibly a chance at the playoff. Cincinnati took care of Houston. They are the only team left without a loss. Michigan, with the complete demolition of the Iowa Hawkeyes. I was in attendance for that game, and it was a massacre to the highest degree. And Alabama took care of Georgia 41-24. A rout. It is the 8th SEC title for Nick Saban as head coach of Alabama. And there are watch parties all across the country. Oh, it's Molly McGrath! Molly McGrath! Love me some Molly McGrath. Oh yeah, the New Year's Six Bowls are released. Molly McGrath is in Waco, Texas for the Baylor watch party. She was at the Big 12 Championship. Love me some Molly McGrath. Uncle Luke in the house. Oh, and he's got a new logo. Very nice Christmas theme. I love how Quincy never acknowledged Notre Dame. I mean, they do have a chance. Maybe they like them more than Georgia. Maybe, just maybe, the committee sees, dang, Georgia does not have a single ranked win. Their only ranked win is Arkansas. And is Kentucky ranked? Arkansas and Kentucky are their only ranked wins. If Alabama would have lost to Auburn, but still have won yesterday, would they make the playoff? Would a 2-loss Alabama have made it? I guess it doesn't matter now. As long we're assuming the matchups are going to be Georgia, Michigan, and Cincinnati, Alabama. Because they're like, oh, the playoff committee doesn't take matchups into account. Yes, they do. They're not going to have Georgia rematch Alabama. Honestly, what I think the committee will do, it'll be number 1 Alabama, number 2 Michigan, number 3 Cincinnati. Or no, number 3 Georgia, 4 Cincinnati. I would like to see Michigan number 1. I think Michigan or Cincinnati should be number 1. I think Michigan and Cincinnati are better than Georgia and Alabama. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, SEC fans. It just means more. It means a lot to other conferences, too. But it just means more. Yes, Reese Davis, you haven't seen the rankings yet. Sopan and Zach are the graphics operators. They are the first to see the rankings. So they gotta put the graphic up there. Marty Smith is at Alabama. More rat poison? Respect. Play with chip on their shoulder. What kind of rat poison is here's what I'll tell you. Here's why I think Alabama beat Georgia. Alabama was battle tested. They had to actually fight in a lot of games. They had to fight against Arkansas, had to fight against LSU, had to really fight against Auburn, had to fight against A&M, ended up losing to A&M. They had to fight and claw, and they were better equipped to handle a big-time game than Georgia was. Georgia just could cruise through every game. And the reason they could cruise is they really hadn't played many legit top 10 teams. Should be Alabama, Michigan, Georgia, Cincinnati. That's what you think it'll be? That's what I think it will be, too. What I think it should be, I think Cincinnati should be number 1. I think they're the only undefeated team. And of the 4 teams, you can argue they have one of the best wins with that Notre Dame win. Obviously, Alabama's win against Georgia looks like the best win. Michigan's win over Ohio State looks great. I will give you one thing, though. So at the Big Ten Championship, they were showing graphics. They were like, before the game even started, they showed both of the teams' journey to the Big Ten Championship. And they're like, Michigan, 59-20 over Maryland. Iowa, oh, they beat Penn State. That was a great win. They're showing each of the teams' wins. And then they show Michigan's win over Ohio State. Yeah! Let's fucking go! That was all the Michigan fans. I was like, man, they've been waiting a long time for this. I hate Michigan more than any other team, but I felt really happy for them after that win against Ohio State. I felt really happy for them. Michigan's first Big Ten title since 2004. What? Michigan had a Big Ten championship banner made last Wednesday. They had a Big Ten championship banner made last Wednesday. Case for number 1. Both teams, Alabama and Michigan, 12-1. Alabama, number 1 strength of record. Michigan, number 2 strength of record. Alabama, 4th strength of schedule. Michigan, 21. Versus the top 40. Alabama is 9-1. Michigan is 5. Molly McGrath! It's Molly McGrath.
Cincinnati, Notre Dame, and Baylor all waiting to see what their fates are. Let's start in Cincinnati with Katie Jordan.
We have more Big Ten championships. Yeah. 32 senior players and their families gathered at Cincinnati team banquet. Team is ready to make college football playoff history. Coach Fickle. I don't think these guys can be denied. History will be made today. And this is a big day for the history of college football because a group of 5 team, a lower division team, hasn't made a national championship, hasn't made a postseason game. The BCS Busters back in the day when the BCS was a thing, the 3 BCS Busters were Utah, TCU, back when TCU and Utah were, when Utah was in the WAC. And Boise State was, I think, also in the WAC. Focus shifts. Notre Dame. Focus shifts to New Year's 6 bowl hopes. Up next? Question mark. Formally introducing Marcus Freeman as their new head coach. Marcus Freeman was the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati last year. Left for Notre Dame, and then Cincinnati ended up beating Notre Dame, and they're going to take their playoff spot. Think about it. If Notre Dame would have beaten Cincinnati, they would have been in the playoff. Tough. Molly McGrath. All is quiet in Waco, Texas. Players have the day off. No watch party scheduled. Dave Aranda is on a recruiting trip. The word playoff was never mentioned in the post-game locker room. Thank you, Molly McGrath. We all love you. So they really sent Molly McGrath to Waco, Texas for Baylor's watch party, and they're like, oh, yeah, Dave Aranda's gone. The players aren't even having a party. So they just left Molly McGrath out to hang. They're just like, you have fun. Just tour our campus. Resume comparison. Strength of record. Cincinnati is 4. Notre Dame is 5. Baylor is 9. Strength of schedule. Cincinnati is 87. Notre Dame 52. Baylor 34. Versus the top 40. Cincinnati 1-0 against Notre Dame. 3-1 is Notre Dame. Baylor's 5-1. Lost to Cincinnati, didn't lose. Notre Dame lost to Cincinnati, and Baylor lost to TCU and Oklahoma State earlier in the year. Even though Alabama would destroy Ohio State in the first ever playoff when Alabama was number 1, Ohio State was 4, Ohio State won. Maybe Cincinnati will upset them also. Cincinnati is the best team in the state of Ohio this year. Aren't they, Ohio? Aren't they, Ohio State fans? Isn't Cincinnati the best team in Ohio? Yeah. Yeah, they are. Why would you go to Baylor? Well, because Baylor, I guess, has a chance to make it. But Molly McGrath's like, where's Dave Aranda? Oh, yeah, he's gone. He's on a recruiting trip. I'll tell you, man, a big-time school is going to scoop up Dave Aranda from Baylor. Yeah, Michigan was a spot above Alabama in the last rankings. And how are you going to move Michigan down after a 42-3 drugging over Iowa? Notre Dame has looked better. Quincy can't. Molly can't wait to head over to Austin and wait for Quincy's arrival. Hey, Molly McGrath. If I go to Austin, if I go to UT Austin, Molly McGrath ever comes to Austin, Texas, you best believe I'm getting them digits. Molly McGrath, call me. What uni are you going to, my guy Quincy? Either Indiana or either IU, Indiana, or Texas. I already got into IU. It's easy to get into IU. They have a pretty big acceptance rate. Or Texas. Both are very good in sports media and stuff. So either Texas or IU. I haven't heard back from Texas yet. Everyone and their mother has asked me, "Have you heard back from Texas? Have you heard back from Texas?" That's all my comments. My comment section is, "Have you heard back from Texas? Have you heard back from Texas? Have you heard back?" And I'll walk through the hallway at school. I'll talk to people because I have friends. Believe it or not, I do have friends, and they'll be like, "Oh, have you heard back from Texas?" I'm like, "I have not." Where do you think Quinn Ewers will go? I think Quinn Ewers will go to Texas A&M. And that could make Texas A&M a dangerous team. I'll tell you, A&M's going to make the playoffs one of these days. One of these days they're going to mess around and win the West. And then win the SEC title. I mean, Cincinnati struggled with... That was not a struggle. What? You're calling that a struggle win? Come on. No. No. Struggle win? What are you talking about? Okay, it was 14-13 at halftime. And then it was 35-13. Come on. That's not a struggle win. And you said it was 11-1. They had won 11 straight games since they lost to Texas Tech to open the season. Alabama College Sports had an incredible day. Oh yeah, they beat Gonzaga in basketball too. They become the first team ever to beat two AP top 5 teams in the same day. Oh, early, yeah. There you go. Dog, Cincinnati won by 2 scores. Baylor is on the verge of a college football playoff spot. Why would Dave Aranda go anywhere? He's already built a culture here. But why would Brian Kelly leave Notre Dame? He's built up a culture there. Why would Lincoln Riley leave Oklahoma? He's built up a culture there. I'm telling you, money talks. Money talks. I hope he doesn't leave. I like Dave Aranda. And he's made Baylor a very good team. But money talks. Like, did you see all the stuff Lincoln Riley got? Lincoln Riley has, like, his own personal private jet. They got him a $6 million home in Los Angeles. He's getting, like, $11 million a year. Like, you can't turn that down. There's really no suspense. I mean, Mario Cristobal. That's who Miami wanted. Miami's like, oh, give us Mario Cristobal. Went on, got blown out by Utah twice. That was horrible. Watching that Oregon-Utah game. My goodness, that was horrible. That was so bad. That was agonizing to watch, that game. I was like, oh my goodness, Oregon? Jeez. Utah will be going to their first ever Rose Bowl. Ranks are based on committee members' evaluation of their performances on the field. Uses conference championships, strength of schedule, head-to-head results, and comparison results against common opponents to decide among teams that are comparable. That is the most garbled mess of words I have ever... See, I like to look at facts. Like, this team has a conference championship, this team doesn't. Because analytics don't lie. But, oh, I think this team looks better. That's, no. I'd like to see Baylor get in over Georgia. I think you should have to win your conference to get in. Would you rather watch college football or the NFL? College football. Dude, the NFL the NFL is not fun to watch, in my opinion. Like, I don't enjoy watching the NFL that much. I'm sorry, I just don't. All right, the picks are in. The graphic is up. Let's see who will be making the college football at number. Oh, they put Ohio State at 6. Hold on, I didn't even have their logo ready. Hold on. I thought they were about to put, I thought it was gonna be Baylor in the top 6. I didn't. Okay, so they're putting Ohio State. So Ohio State's going to the Rose Bowl. Notre Dame's number 5. Man, the Baylor disrespect is real. The Baylor disrespect is real. How do you have Ohio State ahead of Baylor, man? I don't like that. I do not like that. Well, unless they dropped Georgia to 7. Number 4. Who's number 4? It's going to be Cincinnati. Cincinnati at 13-0 is number 4, and for the first time ever, a group of 5 team is going to the postseason. Wow. The glass ceiling is broken. The glass ceiling is broken. I would have liked to see them a little bit higher, but all right. So that means Alabama's number 1 because they're not going to have. Okay. Good for Cincinnati. Luke Fickell standing in the back, very proud of his boys. UCF fans punching air right now. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes, they are. All right. Who's number 3? I'd imagine we see Georgia at number 3. Unless they still have Georgia ahead of Michigan for some reason. I don't know why they would do that. Man. Baylor at 3. Baylor. Ooh, yeah, Baylor. Cincinnati should stay with it. Honestly, it doesn't really matter where in the top 4 you're ranked. Number 3 is Georgia. Wire to wire with yeah. Imagine if Georgia would have lost to Clemson the first week of the season. That would have been bad. But Georgia. Man, I don't think Georgia is. If Michigan plays Georgia, I would take Michigan. David Pollock, so they don't need to think about where they dropped it. They just got to think about, we got punched in the mouth. Punched in the mouth by Alabama. If Alabama's number 2, I'm going to be pissed. I will be pissed if Alabama's number 2. The case for number 1, it's going to be Michigan 2, and it's going to be Michigan 2, Alabama 1. Baylor, Michigan, and Cincinnati could be overrated. Dude, Georgia did not play very many good teams. The best teams they beat were Arkansas and Kentucky. Yeah, I think if you put Alabama over Michigan, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Why are they talking this up? We know it's going to be Michigan too. They're not going to have Alabama play Georgia again. They're not going to have Georgia play Alabama again. I'm telling you right now, if Georgia plays Alabama in the national title game, I'm going to be pissed. But Georgia's not beating Michigan. Michigan's gotten hot. No. Congrats, Georgia. Y'all beat Tech and Arkansas. The number one team in all the land is going to be Alabama. The Crimson Tide are number one. Okay. So, Notre Dame. They're not. Oh, that's Michigan. Ann Arbor, Michigan. They're excited. They will be taking on Georgia. Now, here's the thing. Now, I'd imagine Alabama will be playing in the Orange Bowl because that's the bowl closest to Alabama. And they said that the committee calls the athletic directors. So they called the athletic director in Alabama, and they're like, all right, where do you want to play? You want the Cotton Bowl or the Orange Bowl? Oh, no! Alabama's going to the Cotton Bowl. Oh, Alabama's in the Cotton Bowl. So Alabama went to Texas instead of to Florida. I don't like that Michigan has to play Georgia in the Orange Bowl because Michigan's the higher rated team, but the Orange Bowl is so much closer to Georgia than it is to Michigan. Here's the thing, though. Michigan and Cincinnati are a lot closer to the national championship site than Georgia and Alabama are. So Alabama and Georgia get the advantages in the semifinals. But if one of Michigan or Cincinnati wins, then they're closer to Indianapolis. By the way, I looked at national championship tickets. They're $1,200. So no, I'm not going to the national title. Unless someone wants to give me $1,000. If one of you guys mail me $1,000, I will go to the national championship. Ooh, David Pollack brought up a good point. He said, why would Alabama want to go to Texas over Miami? Because Texas has less distractions than Miami. That's what he said. I kind of understand why Alabama. Because what's closer to Alabama, Texas or Florida? Or Dallas or Miami? I don't really know, but the fact that Michigan is stuck in the Orange Bowl, that kind of annoys me. Now, when do we find out the rest of the New Year's Six bowls? That's what I want to know. Because, yes, the bowls matter. Oh, your bowl games don't matter. Ain't nobody mailing you $1K. If one of you do, I'll go to the national title. You'll get a vlog from the national title. If you mail me $2,000, you can go with me. I know no one's going to do that. But. Texas is also a temperature-controlled stadium. I thought Hard Rock was. was a dome too. Or like, don't they have a roof they can close? The roof's never gonna be closed in Miami. The bowl games don't matter. Wow, bowl games don't matter. The bowls don't matter. My team didn't make the playoffs, so the bowl game don't matter. I'm gonna cry. Hey, it's Gary Barta. Everyone's right. I'll give you a fun. They showed this fun fact of the Big Ten championship. Last night was Michigan's first game in Indianapolis since 1907. They hadn't played in Indianapolis for 114 years. They played at Wabash University. Remember when everyone said Oregon was going to make the playoff? Feels like a long time ago, doesn't it? I say we protest in front of Grapevine, Texas to extend the playoff to 8 teams. If it was an 8-team playoff, you'd have obviously the 4. You'd have Notre Dame, you'd have Ohio State, you'd have Baylor. You'd probably have Utah. Or BYU. Or Michigan State. Or Pitt. Oh, we don't take matchups into account. Yes, you do. Yeah, stop lying to us. Oh, we don't take the matchups into account. It's like, okay, it's like, what he's saying is, oh, the fact that Alabama might have had to play Georgia, that doesn't affect our rankings. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You're telling me you would have put Michigan at 1 just so Bama could play Georgia again? No. Stop lying. Key wins at Notre Dame, SMU, and Houston. We put Cincinnati in the playoff because they were an undefeated conference champion. You know who else was an undefeated conference champion? UCF! Cincinnati's strength of schedule is 87. But they beat a top 5 team. See, I don't think strength of schedule is as important as what is your best win. What is your best win? If your best win is against the number 1 team in the country, but you played an FCS schedule the rest of the year, I don't care. If ND had beaten Cincy, where would ND be ranked? They'd be 4. Notre Dame and Cincinnati would be switched if Notre Dame would have won that game. So, like, Georgia. What's Georgia's best win? Arkansas? Michigan's best win is Ohio State. Alabama's best win is Georgia. Cincinnati's best win is Notre Dame. If Cincinnati would have beaten Notre Dame and then play 10 D3 teams, I think they would be in the playoff. It's strength of schedule doesn't matter as much as what's your best win. Why'd you think Coastal should have made the playoff last year? Because their best win was BYU. BYU was a really good team last year. And who was Ohio State's best win? Northwestern? I don't know. Hey, the reason I didn't want Ohio State in last year is you shouldn't make the playoff winning 6 games. Coastal should have made a New Year's 6. Cincinnati made the New Year's. I just thought they should have had Cincinnati play Coastal in a New Year's 6. That would have been cool. Coastal Carolina flopped on their face this year, though. They went 10. I mean, they went 10-2. That's not a bad season, but they did. They should have won their conference, and they didn't. Cincinnati would not be undefeated with Georgia's schedule. Yes, they would. Maybe. They wouldn't have lost a game in the regular season. I can tell you that. They would not have lost a game in the regular season. I'll tell you that as a fact. The AP poll, okay. Alabama, okay, the AP poll has the same top 4. Except they have Baylor at 6 instead of Ohio State. Okay, the AP poll, 50 people put Alabama number 1. 9 people put Michigan number 1. 3 people put Cincinnati number 1. Cincinnati got 3 number 1 votes from the AP poll. I would have been one of those votes. The rest of the AP poll, number 5, Notre Dame. 6, Baylor. 7, Ohio State. 8, Ole Miss. 9, Oklahoma State. 10, Utah. The Utes. 11, Michigan State. 12, BYU. 13, Pitt. 14, Oklahoma. 15, Oregon. 16, Louisiana Lafayette. 17, Iowa. 18, NC State. 19, Clemson. 20, Wake Forest. 21, Houston. 22, Arkansas. 23, Texas A&M. 24, UTSA. 25, Kentucky. So Georgia has 2 ranked wins, and it's over 22, Arkansas, and 25, Kentucky. I feel bad for OK State. Literally an inch from glory. Here's the thing. Oklahoma... This will help you if you're an Oklahoma State fan. You wouldn't have made it if you won. If you won, you wouldn't have made the playoff. Now, obviously, you'd rather... You want to win a conference championship game. I know that hurts. But you wouldn't have made the playoff if you won. It would have been these 4 teams. AP poll is obsolete. Yeah, AP poll doesn't mean anything. But I mean, yesterday was part 1 of the playoffs. I agree. Here's the thing. Here's the main reason I think it'd be great to expand the playoff. On-campus playoff games. Like, did y'all see the atmosphere at Cincinnati? That place was nuts. Imagine if Georgia had to play Michigan at Michigan in December when it's snowing. Hello, do you think the Fiesta Bowl with Michigan State versus Notre Dame is still a possibility? Sure. I'll give you my predictions for the New Year's 6 bowls. We know the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl is going to be Ohio State and Utah. The Sugar Bowl will be Baylor and Ole Miss. because it's Big 12 versus SEC, and Baylor's the best Big 12 team. Ole Miss is the best SEC team remaining because Georgia and Bama are going to the playoff. Georgia couldn't last in the snow. Oh, yeah. I will say in 2030, Alabama plays a home and home with Wisconsin. Alabama home and home with Wisconsin. Of course, it's at the start of the season when it isn't cold. Or as cold. If MSU versus Notre Dame bring the trophy. Oh, yeah, the megaphone. They have to. They have to. They're interviewing Jim Harbaugh. I kind of feel like they wouldn't put Michigan State against Notre Dame. Here's also okay. Baylor, Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl. Utah, Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. So what are the ones? Fiesta Bowl. I think the Fiesta Bowl will be Fiesta and Peach are the last two. I think. So they have that rule that says a group of 5 team has to make a New Year's Six Bowl. Well, the group of 5 teams in the playoffs this year, so that's taken care of. The money is at the neutral site, though. Quincy, as a future broadcaster, you need to know it's all about the money. That is true. But think of how cool that would be! That'd be so cool! God. That would be so cool to have on-campus playoff games. Okay. I think Notre Dame will play. Oh, the AC doesn't the ACC have to get a team in? I think the ACC has to get a team in. So that means Pitt will be going to the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be Notre Dame and Pitt in the Fiesta Bowl. And then I think the Peach Bowl will be Michigan State and Oklahoma State. I really don't know. Ole Miss versus Baylor. Ole Miss, Baylor, and Utah, Ohio State are the only confirmed ones. I want to see Utah, Ohio State. Because here's the thing. I do not want to play. You do not want to play Utah right now. You do not want to play Utah right now. I'll tell you that right now. You do not want to play Utah. They're looking dangerous. Really dangerous. Although, BYU beat them. Should I make my own top? I'm going to make my own top 10. I'm going to adjust my own top 10. So this was the top 10. Okay, hold on. That was the top 10. Hold on. Can I make this bigger? Okay. This was my top 10 heading into... Actually, hold on. This was the top 10. This was the top 10 last week. Now, this doesn't mean anything. This is just my personal opinion. But let's adjust this. First of all, there's only one undefeated team. The undefeated team gets the crown. Undefeated team gets the crown. I think Michigan should be 2. No. Okay. And then you're not. No, Oklahoma State's nowhere near my top 10. Georgia 4, Alabama 3. That's my top 4. Notre Dame, you can be 5. Why not? Sure. Actually, no. I'm putting Baylor at 5. Baylor won a conference. Notre Dame didn't win a conference. Okay, now, after the top 6, I mean, where do you go? Where do you go after the top 6? All right, Oregon, no, you're nowhere near the top 10. Ohio State, you can be 7. Why not? There is one team we gotta get in here. Utah! Let's go, Utes, baby. Okay. All right. You picking up what I'm throwing down now? Now, who's 10? There are so many teams you could put at number 10. I know, I'm putting a 10.
Talk after the game just tells you a lot about who they are and what they're about. Hey, Kirby, obviously a disappointment, a setback, but now you're still in this playoff. What do you learn?
All right. That is the Quincy Bell Sports AP poll. Why am I not a part of the Associated Press? Ole Miss? Nah, I don't like Ole Miss. I'm not impressed by Ole Miss. Sorry. Just not impressed by Ole Miss. Because what's Ole Miss's best win? A&M? Michigan's got a better best win. Utah's got a better best win. BYU's got a better best win. That's my top 10. That is your Quincy Bell Sports AP poll top 10. Cincinnati. Oh my goodness. All right, I gotta. Cincinnati. 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 Oh, look at this. Look at my record in conference championship games. Okay, this was bad. This was really, really bad. 0-1, 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 2-3, 2-4, 3-4, 4-4, 5-4. I went 6-4. Actually, did better than I thought I did. I thought I did way worse. Ole Miss has quality losses. Quality losses? There is no such thing as a good loss. I'd take a bad win over a pretty loss any day. I'd rather beat Texas. I'd rather beat the Helen Keller School of the Blind by 1 than to lose to Alabama by 1. Okay, maybe not to that extent, but you know what I mean. I'd take a bad win over a pretty loss any day. Yeah, who needs a bad? Who needs wins? I have pretty losses. Shut up. Hey, it's Nick Saban. He's like, I didn't appreciate you saying my Crimson Tide wasn't no good. Ask Nick Saban what he thinks about Cincinnati. That's what I want to hear. Nebraska should be in the top 10 for quality. Yeah. Get out of here. With the quality loss routine. God. I really hope Michigan State plays Notre Dame. Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker. I'll give you a fun little thing. Of the first college football playoff rankings, it was number 1 Georgia, number 2 Michigan State, or no, number 2 Alabama, number 3 Michigan State, number 4 Oregon.
I like the fact that you would say that our team is a pretty good football team, and I think they were a pretty good football team last night. But I think the challenge is, can you be a good football team all the time? Have the right sort of psychological disposition to be able to sustain the performance, play hard, be physical, play one play at a time, and not make the kind of plays that are going to give you the opportunity to be successful against whoever you play.
Coach, we collectively apologize on behalf of the whole group. Who picked Alabama? Because we felt this matchup, coach itself.
Well, he's the oldest, wisest.
Today Saban retires, college football rejoices. Why won't you leave me alone, Nick Saban? I don't think he's ever. I think he's gonna coach till he dies. He's gonna be 100 years old, still coaching Alabama. Georgia vs. Bama national championship is too predictable. Nah. Cincinnati, Michigan. Cincinnati and Michigan. See, when Georgia played Alabama in the national title that one year, it was special because both of them weren't supposed to win. Right? They both upset the team they were playing. And they hadn't already played each other that year. It wasn't a rematch. I hate rematches in college football. That's why I love divisions.
you're the master at finding complacency, keeping the team focused on the task at hand, and being the best version of yourself. How different of a challenge has it been for your coaching staff with this group, having so many new faces, quarterback and running back, and Toto coming in, Jameson Williams coming in, as transfers, guys that maybe haven't been in this situation. Now, what's that been like for you and your coaching staff?
It's been very
All right, I gotta go. I gotta go pick something up for the the playoff house video where I put on all the shirts. I did that last year. People loved it. I'm gonna do it again. I gotta pick up something from a friend though, and it will be a prop that will be used in the video. I think you guys are gonna like it, but I'll see you then. Playoff is set. I think they're gonna release the New Year's Six bowls later today, so that'll be fun to figure out. Oh, and I'm gonna make a Bowl Mania group. There will be a Bowl Mania group. So yeah.